Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here at the Hollywood Museum in the famous Max Factor building, which is historic, and it's on Highland Avenue in Hollywood. Our guests today are choreographer Sheetal Gandhi and director-actress Jo Kelly. Choreographer, dancer, performer, Sheetal Gandhi was born and raised in Northern California, graduated with a Bachelor of Arts from UC Irvine and an MFA in dance from UCLA. She has a long list of grants, has been an artist in residence, and participated in cultural international exchanges, and she's performed her one-woman play on stages from New York to Hawaii, and in Israel, Indonesia, India, the Eyes, Germany, Norway, and the Netherlands. She debuted, this is so great because I saw Bombay Dreams in London and in New York.
Oh, great.
She debuted in Broadway, and she toured with Cirque du Soleil and Dre Leon. So Broadway, let's get to Broadway right away.
Sure.
And Bombay Dreams. How did that happen?
Well, actually, I was back in San Francisco already. I kind of left New York. I thought, I'm done with that kind of thing. And I literally just got an email from a friend saying that they're doing open calls. And I was just so curious because all the times I would go and audition in New York, I was usually the only South Asian person in the room. And so I just wanted to go back to New York just to see other people that looked exactly like me.
Or who would be there, right?
Yeah.
Where did they come from?
Yeah, and it was really exciting.
And
just to
so,
see that.
and you got it?
And I got it.
And you played 12 or 14 times actually on stage as an understudy?
Well, actually, I was on all the time. I was one of the main ensemble dancers, but then I also understudied the lead. So I got to go on for her role about a dozen times, a little bit more.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
And you were so young. You were just starting, right? Were you just
I wasn't
starting?
actually just starting. But thank you.
Had you already started?
I'd started, yeah.
But it did come from London. I remember when it opened in New York.
Yeah.
And I loved it in London.
Yeah.
It wasn't, people didn't get it, I don't think.
I think in London they did. They have a longer history of having sort of that South Asian mix into their culture.
Right.
But on Broadway, we ran for about 9 months, which is amazing.
Oh, was it that long?
It was.
Oh, well, that was good. That was a good time.
The audiences loved us. The critics not so much.
That was the problem. The critics didn't get it.
Well, it wasn't the right time yet. That Slumdog Millionaire hadn't come out yet.
Exactly. You were way before that.
We were way before Slumdog.
But it was great. The music was wonderful, and it was very romantic, and
it was a high energy, musical.
It was like a Bollywood movie.
Exactly. I mean, I had at least about 6 wig changes.
Is that right?
Dancing on a raked stage with water, dancing in a
I remember
fountain.
the water.
Yeah.
I remember the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you train in song and dance? What did you train in?
Ever since I was little, I actually started with piano. So music
But
is
here
my first
in,
love. Actually, up in the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area?
Yeah, I grew up in Walnut Creek. And I always acted, and then when I was about 13, I started getting really serious with dance.
But was your family? Your family was from Bombay, from Mumbai.
Yeah, they're from Mumbai. My dad came out here for his graduate studies.
Oh, he did. So, that's why he came to California and stayed.
Yeah, he actually was at Purdue, and then got a job in San Francisco.
Oh, I see.
And so then that's where we.
So his education started here.
Yeah, his master's education started
yeah.
here, exactly. And then he didn't want to go back. He just wanted to.
But they weren't show business people,
not
or
at all.
Music people,
not at
or
all.
any of that.
No, both my brothers are doctors.
They are?
Yeah. Yeah, so we got 2 doctors and a dancer.
And a dancer.
Yeah.
You're probably the most fun.
I'd like
So
to
tell
think
us,
so.
tell us how it started then.
Well, you mean way back?
Yeah, the piano
It
lessons.
started with piano lessons, and I think I just wanted to be on stage in front of people. I was a natural storyteller and a mimic. I was always mimicking people and entertaining people naturally. And I always loved to dance. And my parents didn't think to put me into dance classes. That wouldn't have, that wouldn't have occurred to them. And then a 6th grade teacher of mine, a school teacher, told my mom, you should put her in dance classes.
Oh, she
Because I was
did?
just hungry for whatever I could get.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so that's when I started taking ballet, jazz, tap. I'd started tap a little bit before that.
And then you became a choreographer?
Yeah.
From that influence?
Exactly. I always had my own ideas. So it wasn't enough for me to recreate somebody else's ideas, but I had my own. And so eventually I just went into choreography.
And then were you in film? Were you in TV? I mean, after Bombay Dreams, what does a person do coming from Broadway?
What did I do after Bombay Dreams? I actually went and got my grad degree, and that's when I made my one-woman show.
Is that when you started it?
Yeah.
What is it called?
It's called Bahu Beti Biwi, which means daughter-in-law, daughter-wife.
Bahu
Beti.
Betty, like
Beti.
Betty. Betty.
Biwi.
Biwi.
Biwi, yeah, which means wife.
And it's obviously a one-woman show.
It's a one-woman show. I play about 9 different characters.
If you knew how to change your wigs for Bombay Dreams, you knew how to change your character.
Exactly. Yeah, I think all that theatricality and working with Cirque du Soleil and doing a lot of other people's work, it just naturally I have a real theatrical bent. So
You reminded me, Dre Leon. Tell us a little bit about that before we go into your baby that you've taken for years now, right?
Yeah, for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
So Dralion is a
Dralion.
yeah.
I mean, like totem.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta say it with a French accent.
The new one, the totem.
Yeah, I just saw it actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was going to say it
My
coming
friend,
up.
I have a couple friends who are in
Oh,
it,
because
so.
you were with, you still have, are they still in it from the time you were in
Yeah,
it?
there are some people that will keep doing it or they'll move from show to show.
And how do they keep up? Don't they get too big or too, do you have to be a certain size?
You know,
or?
it depends. I mean, with clowns, for example.
Oh, yes, that's right.
It's all about the character, and if you're really skinny, you get roles where that's the look, and if you're really fat, then that's the look.
And then they keep you do the...
Yeah, I mean, with dance, it's more challenging because your body does get tired, and it can't necessarily do the same things that it used to do. Which is why after 2 years, I just said.
Did you do it 2 years?
I did it
you
for
travel?
2 years. I traveled. I toured all of North America to 10 shows a week. And the show's almost 3 hours, and I was in about 3/4 of it. I was a main character. I basically created the character. I developed it drawing on Indian classical dance and then my own contemporary style to create the goddess of water. So then I would thread through the show and...
That's so great.
Yeah.
You've really done some very interesting things.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of breath.
That's a big thing, and they're big things, and now you're with this one thing, this small thing at the Cabaz, is it Cabaz
Raymond
Theater?
Cabaz Theater.
Yeah, which is a small theater, beautiful. It's like a little gem, but we're talking about like Las Vegas, big theaters,
Totally.
3,000 people,
Yeah,
Broadway, big
absolutely.
stages.
I mean, I used to perform with Cirque, for 5,000 people per day.
That's what I mean.
So you're really the exposure is amazing.
And this theater probably holds what,
Like
200?
200,
Yeah, about 200. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful theater.
Yeah,
And
it
how
is.
did you get to that theater?
Well, I was part of the WA, which is the Western Arts Alliance Juried Showcase, and it's a booking conference, and there's something called the Juried Showcase, which if you apply as an artist and you're chosen, it's a great opportunity because you are put out there in front of all these different presenters from around the country.
Oh, so then they can take you,
So
or they can book you?
It was held in his theater, and Pierre is the director of the theater, artistic director, and he already just loved my work. So before he even saw the whole show, he's like, we got to get you to come here.
And so you're there.
So I'm there.
And what's the story? It's the mother-in-law, and the daughter.
Yeah, it definitely explores my own heritage and the changing roles of women in India.
And what do you wear?
I wear a lot of different things.
Oh, you
I
do?
do a
'Cause
lot
I
of
saw
interesting
you in a
things.
sari.
Yeah, I use costume in a pretty inventive way. I use it to help me transition between characters.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you change wigs? Do you do...
No wigs, but definitely costumes. And then I speak and sing throughout. And I never leave the stage. That's kind of the interesting part.
And how, it's an hour and a half or an hour?
It's just an hour.
It's an hour.
Yeah.
And you have how many characters?
9.
And who are those characters? Because we know the 3.
Yes. Well, let's see. One of them is inspired by an auntie of mine who I know from the Bay Area, and she's very funny, lovely woman. She's always feeding people, and her head is always moving, and it's, you know.
I love that.
Yeah. There's always this. So she inspired this character. There's.
Why is her head always moving?
She,
Is that a trait?
Yeah, well, there is something, I think, actually,
Or
because
older ladies.
yeah, well,
Kinda
she used to have some hearing problems, so I think when she used to,
She's so not
yeah,
nice.
well, but she's wonderful, and then now she has a hearing aid. So, but I think maybe that's why she always wanted to give her full
saying
attention.
yes.
She's listening and she's processing everything. But those are the things you look at as an actor. You look at, like, what are these little idiosyncrasies?
And then you make
that
them bigger.
And then you make them bigger, exactly. So she's seen the work. I did it in San Francisco.
I'm sure she liked it.
Yeah, and then other characters are based on, for example, my mom. But then I age my mom and I make her a grandmother character. But everything that grandmother character says is
How
my
did she
mom.
like it? I'm going to ask each one. Did
Yeah.
did she have any trepidation?
Well, my mom is definitely, she's tough love. She's a very tough love mom. So I've had to develop a lot of just self-esteem on my own because my mom's not going to give it to me. She loves me. She's proud of me.
Right.
But she's not going to, So when she saw the show, actually, she was sitting with my little brother. And during that scene, everybody's laughing in the audience, the things I'm saying. And everything I'm saying is stuff that she said.
Right.
And she looks at my brother and she's like, where does she get this stuff?
Oh, that's what she said.
And my brother's like, really, Mom? You don't see yourself? No.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And what kind of things did she say?
Oh.
I mean, is it a story or just what different characters
It's
say?
these different characters, but they thread through, but it's not linear. But you do take this journey through all these characters, and they have conversations with each other across
Oh,
time.
they do?
Yeah. So, something that character would say is, wear something nice. I know you're only going to the safe way, but look at you. You look like a vagabond. If you go to India looking like this, people will feel sorry for you. They'll give you money. And what if you get in an accident on the way to safe way? You're looking like this, and then you step out of the car looking like this. I mean, it was more important that I should look good than I would get in, rather than, oh my gosh, what if you got in an accident?
How did you train your voice and learn that? Did you have to go to a speech coach?
No, that's just called growing up in a family where, I just
Because
thought,
you're from here.
Yeah, but
You're native Californian.
Yeah, definitely. The Indian accent is, I think, growing up, we just got a lot of mileage out of it. We would always just
make fun.
tease our parents, and they're so good about it. Thank God.
Your
bless them.
father's not in this, though.
My dad's not represented in this.
No.
Not really.
Are you
no.
writing something with men?
Well, I do play a male character.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and in this, the male character is actually, he longs for more intimacy with his wife, which is not what people usually think. They usually think it would be the opposite way. And so it's really important for me to show a well-rounded picture, that it's not that women are only oppressed and men are the ones doing the oppressing,
But is it because of arranged marriages?
It can be.
That's interesting.
With an arranged marriage, a lot of it is based on luck. You're lucky if you get matched up with someone where all the pieces line up. But if they don't, and in the case of this character, he's longing for more romance, and she's just not there. She can't do it. She can't go there.
So are they traditional? Are they most of them traditional?
The characters? No, because then I also play sort of myself.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So that's a contemporary.
Yes, and then my issues are, Mom, why can't I wear a tank top? It's just
to
an
the
armpit,
Safeway.
Yeah, exactly. It's just these silly. Some of them are very, very silly, but they have poignant.
And where did you get those?
What?
As your mother would say, where did she get that?
Yeah.
But things that you experienced as a child.
Things that I experienced, and then things that other people have experienced, not just growing up in an Indian American household, but any kind of culturally hybrid, bicultural upbringing, you know.
So do you keep rewriting? We have to leave. Our time is up. But do you keep rewriting these characters?
I don't. With this show, it's pretty set because I did a lot of
is.
editing during the process of creating it.
So if we saw it in San Francisco, we saw it in Paris, it's the same.
The same.
And you're wearing the same costumes.
It's the same.
And you sing?
I do sing.
Is there music?
Yeah, yeah. It's not live music, but the music is composed by Joseph Trapanese. Who does a lot of work in Hollywood.
It's
yes,
composed for you?
It's composed for me. It's all original, and it's based on a lot of these folk songs from India, but then it has a completely contemporary feeling to it.
Fantastic.
So it's not a traditional
Is the
dance
score
theater.
all the way through?
All the way through.
Oh,
yeah,
fabulous.
Yeah. It's really
Because I
a
saw
strong
you
piece.
like dropping petals, and it was
Yes,
beautiful.
Yeah, visually it's very stunning. There's a lot of poetic imagery, visual poetic imagery through the
Well, I'm
piece.
so glad you came and explained
Thank
it
you.
to us.
I'm so glad you had me here.
And Sheetal.
Sheetal. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheetal. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Joe Kelly. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum on Highland Avenue. And I'm with director, actress Joe Kelly, who has an MBA in human management. She's trained in acting and writing in Brussels, Paris, and LA, and Madrid, let me add. And she's a coach, training actors in those same cities. She's fluent in the language of each country. Do you teach in that language when you're there?
I coach in French, English, Spanish. I passively coach in the languages that I don't totally master.
And how do those people come to you? Where do they come from?
I have no idea. It's been a very organic thing. When I was pursuing acting and writing, got pregnant, and I couldn't move anymore. It was like a tricky pregnancy, and the doctor said, basically, you have to choose between the play and the film you're doing right now and the kid. So
and
it
you
was
were
very,
acting.
Yeah.
You were acting
and
at the time.
Yeah, so that was a very easy choice. I chose the baby, and I had to stop those projects. And so I quickly got bored, and I was like, what can I do with resting? And I started, you know, coaching, and then it just became this thing where people were asking me, and it, you know,
But with coaching, does coaching come out of something like a degree in business management or human management?
Yeah, actually.
In a way. Yes, I thought about that.
Because actually what I did was like a business degree, you know, like an MBA. And then you can specialize and do a master's in fiscal law or, I don't know, human resource management, marketing. And basically, I took human resource management, and what's human resource? It's just really psychology classes. And
exactly.
The understanding of human behavior and how it works and why, etc. So I was always attracted to it. And when I got out of university, my first job was coaching managers, business coaching.
Oh, you did
Yeah,
do that?
I did
so
do
you
that.
were in the
Yeah,
business
yeah,
field for
corporate.
a while.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like acting too, isn't it? You're coaching them.
Well, I wouldn't say that coaching feels like acting, though you pretty much have to be in the moment to get the energy that's in front of you.
But you have to understand it, don't you, to
have
be able to coach it?
Yeah. You do have to understand it. And that's why, I mean, having the experience of corporate coaching, then when I started acting and I dropped all the business side of things and took all these entertainment classes, then it made sense for me to blend.
Then when did that acting start?
Well, I was 27. And I moved from Brussels to Paris and started all over because after a little trip in New York, I was in a gallery and was extremely moved by the work of Peter Beard, who did something.
Peter Beard, the photographer?
Yeah, it did something for me. He still had a gallery there at the time, and I remember I walked in and froze for 2 hours and stayed in that gallery. And when I took the flight back, I realized that I had to stop business and start something new. And I started singing, acting, and painting. And then the acting was such a revelation, I dropped everything and pursued with acting.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was like a second career. I mean,
was.
More time for you to put into a career.
Yeah, and I think
did you know Peter Beard?
Well, I met him afterwards. I met him at a party like a Russian party in a castle in Paris. The weirdest thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you'd already seen the show, and so it was like he was influenced your second career.
Oh, definitely. And I think the second career was like really a big passion for me, but it didn't stop there. I think it was just a step, because now I don't pursue acting anymore. I really take everything I've learned, and I'm pursuing directing. So I'm still a very baby-like director.
You're directing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so you've gone, so you were in films, and you were on the stage, and to me it seems like that would be your background for coaching.
Yeah, it's definitely the background for coaching and for directing, and I think coaching and directing are very much
and
the same.
directing.
Yeah,
You think so?
Yeah, very much the same thing. Yeah.
When you were in film, you worked with Danny Glover. So you worked in high-profile, big films.
Not much, a little bit, and not that I didn't like it, but I always wanted to be by the director, and I always wanted to tell him, why don't we do it like this, and why don't you do that? And so I thought, okay, I should test myself and see if this is for me, because I can't just be.
But your films went to a lot of festivals. You participated in a lot of festivals.
Yeah, the film I did, my first film did well, and I really enjoyed the experience of it, so I decided to continue.
And were you writing at that time?
Yes. So Cold Country is the play for next week, is the first material that I didn't write. I've always directed, whether it was play or film, when I directed or co-directed, it was always my material.
Something that you had written that you felt close to.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why the experience on Cold Country is very interesting too.
Well, tell us the directing part. You had your film debut directing in Grace.
Yeah.
And Cold Country is
the play.
a play.
Yeah. So it's I
How
don't know.
different is this going to be? Or is it for you?
Not for me. Well, it is obviously different, but actually in my process and in the passion that I have for it, it's not, because I'm very much about the acting process, because that's how I started, and that's the main focus for me. And so that's where my mind goes. That's where I try to get my creativity going. I don't know if it's going anywhere, but that's where I put my effort.
But Cold Country is a project by the Swiss Consul General.
Yeah.
Or the consulate.
Yeah.
The Consul General here.
Yeah.
And how do they they're bringing over the person who wrote it. What was his name?
Reto Finger. I don't know if they're bringing him.
I think he's
Maybe.
Reto Finger is from
Switzerland. Yeah. He might be coming. I actually
and
should
he
check
actually
that.
wrote it.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
No, I don't know him.
So you're just working on his.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a very. It's not an easy piece. When I first read it, to tell you the truth, I was like, "Ooh, it's so tragic." It's.
Is it? What's it about?
It's drama. It's. What is it about? It's, for me, it treats a lot of different things, and it's very much about, at least the route that I'm taking with it in terms of directing, is about grow or die. And it's exploring this little village in Switzerland, and you know how Switzerland is supposed to be like a perfect country.
Right.
And that's exacerbated by the illustration of a little village in the mountains where everything is secluded and people are trying to just keep everything the way it is. And so it brings up a lot of resistance, a lot of death, a lot of tragedy, actually.
Is it perfect? Is that little village perfect?
It's trying to be. It's disastrous.
It's trying to be.
It's
That's
disastrous.
the thing. Are
yeah.
we always,
Yeah.
we think that we want to keep something perfect when
No.
it really isn't.
No, I really believe in the expression grow or die. I think life is expanding and is moving and is changing, is evolving, as, you know, whether we want it or not. And resisting that is terrible.
You can't resist it.
No, if you know, there's another saying that says resistance equals persistence. So the more you're going to try and block something, the bigger it's going to get, because it just needs, it's alive and it needs to go through, it needs to follow its route.
But you also need to have the truth involved, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what you have to bring out in this play.
Yeah,
Is the
yeah,
truth.
yeah.
And I think that's the problem so much right now with social media, that it's not the truth that we're seeing.
No.
It's like a person smiling and their
Yeah.
selfie,
Yeah.
but they're miserable.
Probably,
or
maybe
whatever.
not, but
It's not.
there's this tendency or this attraction now, I guess. I'm not a fan, a social media fan at all. I have to use it for work, but I would rather not, actually. I think it's, yeah, people have a tendency to invent a new reality for them in this online reality.
That's what was seeming when you said you have to talk about this little village and what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they project themselves to the world.
Yeah, they're actually stuck in the image that they do project into the world.
Oh, they're
and
stuck.
Yeah,
I see.
And that's why they're not able to live the truth, and that's why it's like it's a messy world.
Is there a storyline of the main characters? Who will be reading? This is a reading you're directing.
It's like a scenic reading. I'm not a fan, if not, I really don't like readings, to tell you the truth. So the reason I took it was to say, okay, I don't like them. The only way I'm going to do this if it's becoming fun for the actors and fun for the audience.
And does it go someplace? Does it go to the stage, this reading?
Yeah, so it will be blocked. Well, it is blocked. We're still rehearsing. But yes, the actors will read because there's only one show.
And did you help cast it?
Yes, we, with Christophe, it was very much so the framing that we had was to use mostly Swiss people.
Talk about Christophe for a minute. Just tell us his name.
Christophe. I think I have the whole Swiss community behind me to cheer for Christophe. He has done an amazing job at building the Swiss community and at really making strong relationships and making strong professional relationships and opportunities happen between people here. And he's
How
done
do
an
you
amazing
say his
job.
last name?
Christophe Voté.
Voté. He's
Voté, maybe, I don't know.
He's the head of the cultural department.
That's it, in the Swiss consul. And yeah,
And so he's very much involved.
He's very involved, yeah. He's very involved. He supports a lot of Swiss artists. He has a lot of Swiss artists come here that he supports with their work. And he supports the local ones.
And then where do you do this reading?
It's at the Goethe Institute.
On Wilshire, right?
Mid-Wilshire. Exactly. And yeah, that's where it is.
Because it'll be for an audience, right?
Yes,
it's
definitely.
for an audience, yeah.
Definitely.
And then where does he see it going from here, Christophe? Is he like the producer, Christophe, in a way?
He is acting as the producer, yeah. So I know they did the similar thing in New York. I think they're touring it somehow.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. So
so would it go like from consulate to consulate? Would they be in charge of it, do you think?
It could be.
It's pretty interesting if they do something like that.
Yeah.
Because there's consulates all across the U.S.
Yeah. It's good for the authors. It's good for the talents to be able to circulate their work that way. Yeah, it's an easy way to do it.
Very good, very good. So where after Cold Country, where do you go?
After Cold Country, in between everything, I'm like I'm very good at having 100 different projects that I struggle to keep going. So right after, I'm going to go to Zurich, where I'm going to do 5, I think, or 6 workshops for actors, artists, and actually for regular people.
That's what I wanted to bring in, because you do workshops everywhere. Continue to do that.
Yeah, I continue to do that. So I have, because I've lived in several countries, so the places I've lived in, I still have like private coachings online with people on Skype. But when I go to Zurich this time, it's going to be bigger. It's going to be big groups.
Oh, you do use Skype then?
Yeah,
you do?
Yeah. So I even hear the actors that are on set or shooting, I don't know, in another state, and they need to speak to me every night to see the scenes.
What do they call you for? What do they say?
I have like anything from a 14-year-old beginner to very seasoned actors who, I don't know, have a lead in a feature and just want to have a coach. And a coach is really like, you remember Rocky, the film? This is the little old guy behind shouting at you and making sure that you reach your potential. It's really not about teaching. I don't believe you can teach it.
I see.
Yeah. I actually really don't think you can teach any art. You can transmit it, you can train it, you can work it out, but I don't think you can teach it. So I unteach it. I help people get rid of blocks and go back to their, childlike source energy. It's great, yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Good luck in Zurich.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's a great city.
Nice to see you, Jo.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing to me at JAQUINN1 at AOL.com. See you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles.